Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Hindley Hall Herald podcast, episode 2. Myself, Darren Wood, joined by co-host, course manager Andy Birchall.
Thank you.
And we wanted to start by saying a big thank you to everybody that watched or listened to the first episode. We had well in excess of 500 views.
Fantastic.
And the aim of this podcast is always going to be to keep it informative and keep our members, visitors and friends of Hindley Hall in the community up to date with everything that we're doing, both on the course and in the clubhouse. How was January, Andy?
40 degrees and sunny.
Anybody that doesn't know, Andy takes an annual holiday every January to somewhere that's warm and sunny. So Andy's been taking a well-earned break, ready for the season ahead. The course has been covered in snow for the early part of January, and I've been in Harrogate with greenkeepers talking all things grass agronomy and technical stuff. So we're back now with episode 2.
And
go on.
I bet you've been in the Wetherspoons as well in Harrogate. It's
Yes.
normally the meeting point.
Yes, Wetherspoons in Harrogate did get a few drinks. Definitely.
Good.
So we are sat with our own drinks today. A little Guinness.
Yes.
We're not in working hours, but it's well deserved because today Andy and the team have been smashing through some course maintenance that we'll get to in a minute. But I did touch on the fact that we were covered in snow.
Yes.
Early January. Quite a lot, actually. Lasted quite a while.
Uh-huh.
And I know some of our members would be really interested to know that what happens to courses, especially our course, when it snows or is icy. What's the recovery and what's the process that we do when golf courses are covered in snow and ice?
Right. So shall we touch on some facts and figures first?
King of
then
data.
move in. So rainfall for January 2025 was 118.5 millimetres of rain, and that was 12 days of rain, or it rained on 12 days, compared to 110 millimetres of rain in 2024 on 10 days. So similar, there or thereabouts. Snow, we had 6 days of snowfall in 2024, but 10 days of snow in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And then temperatures, 2025, we had a high of 9.6 in January, compared to 13.8 in 2024. And then, interestingly, they're all but identical for the low temperature. So the low temperature in 2025, 7.8, minus 7.8, sorry. And the low temperature in 2024, minus 7.6. Which then leads us on a little bit to evapotranspiration,
Mm-hmm.
which in a few more podcast time, we'll talk about a bit more.
So just for everybody listening, just in a nutshell, what is evapotranspiration?
It's the amount of moisture that is lost out of the ground.
Yeah.
So we monitor that. I monitor it all year round, but it becomes in its own in summer when we need irrigation. We need to put irrigation on because it's drying out, or so. But I monitor it all year round. So this year we have lost 9.8 millimeters of water in January to evapotranspiration, compared to 8 millimeters last year in 2024. So they're very similar again.
Yeah.
Basically, over that sort of January period, we're there or thereabouts in the same position weather-wise. Although I must say, if you delve back deeper into the rainfall, end of last year compared to end of 2023, as we touched on in the last one, that's where the big difference.
We're in a better spot to be able to cope with the same amount of rain or weather in January than we were.
There or thereabouts, the same amount of rain for January this year compared to January last year.
Okay.
The big difference for us was October to December 2024 compared to October, December 2023.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's where we're at.
That sounds positive.
Yeah.
We're in a better place now than we were. Yeah.
Definitely. And out there on the course, we certainly feel it as a team that we're we're turning a lot more
Yeah.
jobs over or starting, getting on with them.
I think as golfers as well, we see it. You know,
Yeah.
when we play most weekends or anybody playing during the week, it tends to be feeling drier than it did this time last year.
Yeah,
so we're
definitely. You know, we can get out there. We still have to be a little bit wary of where we drive and what we do, but nowhere near like we was last year due to the excessive rainfall that we had. But you know, interestingly, we have been dry, but we have had what did I say? We've had 4 more days of full snow coverage this January compared to last January. So snow, from my point of view, is great because it's uncontentious.
right.
We're either covered in snow or we're not.
Yeah, black and white. Pardon the pun. It's black or it's white.
Yeah, there's no. Well, it's not rained at my house,
Yeah.
or it's not put that much down in the night. If we're covered in snow, there's no arguing with that. But with being covered in snow, it does come with its own challenges. You know, if it's covered in snow and we're frozen underneath, it's not the slush and horrible. It's great for getting around the golf course, even if you're just moving bulk materials to a project. You know, it's frozen solid and you can move tonnage around this golf course to get it to the site, the location where you need it. You know, and if it sits there for a week or so until you can get to do the job, at least all your materials are there and it's ready to go when the conditions suit. The challenge with snow really comes if it's frozen underneath or becomes frozen underneath wide. That snow is still sat there, and then the snow has a quick melt and vanishes. Suddenly we've got a green golf course from a white golf course, but we're still frozen underneath. And even though that top 5-10 mil might be defrosted, if that frost is severe enough, like it has been these past few weeks, from what the lads have told me and the videos that I've seen on our own group chat, you know, it's frozen solid from sort of 15 mil below, and that top 15 mils defrosted. And that's where the challenges come, hence why, you know, sometimes we have to be on winter greens. Yeah, we want to open the course and give everybody a full game of golf, but sometimes you have to be on them winter greens. What we don't want to do is damage our surfaces going forward now into that spring, into that golfing season when people get the Masters fever and suddenly want to start playing golf again. And that soft defrosted layer on top and then the frozen layer underneath needs to be checked daily, 2-3 times a day, before we then allow the flag to return to the summer green if the course is open. You know, we don't want to cause what's known as root shear, where the top part that is defrosted is soft and then the bottom part is frozen solid. That way you get what's called root shear, so the roots will go through both of them layers, the soft and the frozen layer, but then as people walk on, or, you know,
kind of compact it and move.
It moves and then the root snaps.
Yeah.
So then that root's got to grow again, and you might have a decent depth of root that you've then ruined. So, you know, putting a T-peg in doesn't work. You know, you need to get down with, you know, as simple it is, we use a basic screwdriver and that's it. There's no special tool for it. Yeah. We stick it in and see how far we can go.
Yeah.
You know, there's been, if you're on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, there's been some great videos out there lately. You know, a lot of courses in the area have suffered the same as we have here with that issue. I know Steve at Penworth, I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning him. He did a great video on that point, you know, where that top bit was defrosted and screwdriver goes in, but it only goes in that 20 mil or so, and that's where the damage can occur. And that,
as golfers, we don't know that. We don't see that. We just see, why is it still on temporary greens? That's all we see.
You know, and I understand that. You know, you've seen a golf course that's white over, where, like I said, there can't really be an argument that it's open or closed. It's completely white, and then overnight, which is what happened here a few weeks ago, it's gone from white to green, but that underside, them layers down below are still frozen solid, hence why the winter greens are are there in play to save
Yeah.
our surfaces and produce better surfaces in them more important months.
Yeah. So I took from all of that by the time we get to April, we will be like Augusta.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see why not.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Somebody will comment and say that. Otherwise, but that's fine. We can only try.
Well,
We can only
who
try,
knows?
And
Who knows? We're going to be in a good spot. Yeah. So we covered snow and ice.
Yeah.
We covered the depths of winter. We might still get a little bit more before winter's out.
Yeah. I mean, we're about 4 weeks now from captain's driving.
Yeah.
And somebody older than me will know this, but I think about 8 to 10 years ago, we had captain's driving called off because of snow.
Yeah.
Which is always for us here, it's always the first Saturday in March.
Yeah.
And we've had it called off because of snow before.
Yeah. I don't think it's unheard of for people to remember snow during Easter.
No.
Even April. So hopefully not. I'm sure Mother Nature might play ball with us this year. Fingers crossed. But if we're moving into the season, a lot of prep to do to get that course looking like Augusta as much as we can.
Yeah.
And today we're recording this at the very beginning of February, and today you've just started the maintenance work to get us to spring and some decent playing conditions.
Yeah.
So talk us through it.
So if you watch the previous podcast, if you haven't, go back and watch it. I hinted that if weather was favourable, then we would be starting greens maintenance early to get it done and out the way and kind of take the pressure off a little bit. And looking at the forecast today, even with the bit of rainfall that we've had, the forecast for the next 7 to 10 days is looking very good. And there's only, I think, Thursday morning where there's a chance of frost where we're showing minus. Other than that, we're low in temperature, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we'll see frost. So we've bit the bullet and started greens maintenance today. So we've got all of the back 7 holes done and the putting green today after a bit of a slow start, because it was a decision that I made after consulting my 20 or so weather apps that we will go for it this morning. So it probably took us an hour and a half to get the machine set up and everything. Prior to that, yesterday morning, the forecast was totally different to last night. Hence the late decision to change. I was going to start it tomorrow, but the weather forecast changed in our favour, so let's get on and get it done. The sooner it's done, the sooner it's out the way, the sooner we can get to recovery.
Yeah.
So this morning we've started the process of micro hollow core in the greens, 8mm diameter tines, pulling a 7-8mm core out at 50mm centres across all surfaces. They've been cleaned up. Unfortunately, a touch of rain came just as we was finishing the 18th, which stopped us from doing a complete tidy on the back 7 greens. But with the forecast being dry, we'll start the front 11 greens in the morning. And once the dew's gone and we've brushed it off and we've had a little bit of wind because there is some wind forecast and the back 7 greens are dry, then we'll start the process of doing a full clean on them and then sort of play catch up with where the coring machine is and where we're up to on the front 11. And then after that, we will verti-drain with 10mm tines, top dress, a brush or drag matting, dependent on the weather and how damp the surface is with dew. We'll drag mat or brush that in, and then we'll give them a little bit of feed, a roll, and sort of put them to bed now for a couple of weeks.
Let nature take its course, recovery happen.
Just take the pressure off. We're not in April. Like I said, everybody will have the Masters fever, and suddenly we're going on with all the coring machines and what have you, and upsetting the golfers. We've took the pressure off a little bit, and they can recover at their own speed. Yeah,
that sounds really good.
They won't look the best over the weekend, but they should roll okay.
I think in winter, as golfers, we should be accustomed to having this work done for the benefit of the rest of the main playing season.
Yeah.
So I think no arguments there. It sounds really good.
And then going forward throughout the season, there'll be little spells of greens maintenance, but nowhere near as invasive as this is. And then likewise at the end of the season, hopefully, if the weather plays ball once again, we'll do a little bit more of an invasive hollow core or scarify with a good overseed when them soil temperatures are up, and we've got the warmth as well to help with germination and perhaps a little bit of moisture, be it rainfall or irrigation if needed, and get some more decent grass growing and sort of then put them to bed again for the winter period.
Is the plan still to do something on the aprons and surrounds to improve those?
Yeah, so hopefully, well, I'll not say 100%, but near as damn it, fingers crossed, we'll get the greens done by Thursday afternoon.
Yep.
And then we'll look at the golf course, see how dry we are, and then make a decision then whether we start tees and surrounds renovation maintenance on Friday, or do we do a bit of cutting and presenting to the golf course for the weekend, and then aim to go next Monday on tees and surrounds, and looking at the forecast, hopefully it won't change. I think we've got until next Friday at least before a significant change in the weather.
Got a good window there.
Got a good window there to go at. But if it does change, I don't see it being a big issue. Our tees are small. I think I mentioned in the last podcast, our greens are only 0.5 of a hectare, and our tees are only 0.45 of a hectare. So the tees are slightly smaller than the greens. So if we do the tees in a bit of a hit and miss fashion because of the weather, we've still got plenty of time before that start of season arrives. So I'm more concerned about getting the greens done. Let's get them done.
Yeah.
But like I say, if the weather plays ball, then come next Friday, or a week on Friday, hopefully they'll all be done. Tees, greens, surrounds.
Sounds really positive compared to where we were this time last year.
Yeah.
So much more work going in that you're able to do.
Yes.
Because you couldn't get machinery on last time, and hand cutting greens and all sorts of stuff. And hand cutting fairways, as well.
Yeah, we hand cut the golf course last year, as I said in the previous podcast. So
yeah. Fingers crossed Mother Nature plays ball with us and we can continue looking ahead.
Be great if it could.
Yeah, one of the things I think this current phase of maintenance is going to help with is some of the disease pressure and some of the disease that we're seeing on some of our greens, which I know some members have commented on.
Yeah.
I've certainly noticed.
Yeah.
I just want to get you just to talk through that, what it is, why it's there, and why it's nothing that we should be concerned about.
So we've got some, I can't really say fusarium at the moment because it's more the scarring from fusarium on some of the greens.
Yeah.
The fusarium is a disease that is always there. It just takes the right weather conditions for it to flourish. I've always likened it personally to a common cold. It's just they're always lingering around, and if the conditions are right or you are just in the wrong spot, it gets hold of you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like that. And for whatever reason, I have my own little thoughts on it, but the back 7 holes here, if we have an attack of fusarium, it will always appear on these back 7 holes first. I think it's because it's a little bit more sheltered. We've not quite got as much wind movement as we do on the front, so the surfaces stay that bit damper for longer. They also hold that temperature as well. So, once we get sort of below 3 degrees, fusarium kind of gets knocked on the head. And it takes us a long while for soil temperatures and ground temperature to get below 3 degrees on the back 7 holes. And I think that's because it's just it's acting a bit like a greenhouse around the back.
All right.
That once we warm up through the summer, it kind of keeps that heat in a little bit, and I've got data in the shed over soil temperatures, and this 18th green at the back of the clubhouse.
You've got some data. What a shock.
Will be on average 4 to 5 degrees warmer than any other green on the golf course.
Oh.
And I think that's just because of the position of the green, the way it faces the sun.
Yeah.
You know, it gets sun from 8 in the morning till last thing at night throughout the season. And a lot of that heat is then bounced off the back of this building back down onto the green.
Okay.
So it holds gets its temperature a lot quicker than anywhere else, and it holds it for a lot longer.
Do you know where the coldest place on this course is?
Yeah.
The first tee.
Normally, yes.
It's freezing whenever we get to the first tee. By the time we got to the second tee, we've warmed up.
Yeah.
That's just so weird.
Always the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Always the same. But going back to Fusarium, yes, we've had some scarring. As I've said, it's worse around the back than the front. I think I hinted in the last podcast that we were still having relatively warm temperatures for the time of year, and we were seeing a little bit of recovery. That was the case until obviously we had the snowfall and what have you through January. Doing this round of microholotyne and what have you will close some of them scarrings up a little bit, because obviously we're taking some of that scar tissue away, and you know, that'll fill in a little bit. But we'll keep on top of it. A bit of feed and a bit of TLC at the right time, and I'm confident that, you know, we can overseed hopefully with some decent temperatures in March. We'll not have a cold spring, and you know, we can get them sort of tuned in really.
Yeah. So the warmer weather is going to discourage any disease and encourage the grass to grow through it and thrive.
Hopefully, yeah. What we don't want is that them temperatures where it's sort of 5-6 degrees up to 12 to 14. You know, if we can stay either side of that bracket, that'd be great. I know it's a big ask, but that would be great. You know, and we can just jump on with a little bit of hand divoting round the back and spot seeding and treating and what have you. And I'm not too worried.
Good. And one of the other bits I know you wanted to cover was the new ditch that's appeared on 18.
Yes.
Talk us through that one.
So, again, as I said in the last pod, we had a area down the right-hand side of the 18th as you play it that never really dried up at all.
Yeah.
And it was time to do something about it. I think it's been a issue for as long as we can remember here at Hindley. You know, once we've put the ditch in, we've found a bit of a minefield of pipe work dating back probably 80 to 100 years to maybe 20 years ago, on, you know, different pipe work joining into this, that and the other, and old-fashioned stone culverts and all sorts. So it kind of says to me that over the time that's been a problem area, and something's been done and it's worked for a spell, and then it does fall back to what it was. So we've put a ditch in, and I can't believe how much it's dried up at the moment. We're nowhere near finished with it, but it was a trial and error process, you know, and I'm still open to the fact that we might have it for a few months, this ditch, and then we might put a big pipe in and fill it in. You know, we'll have to see what happens. You know, it's as it stands now, it's not cost us very much money to do. Yeah. You know, it doesn't stand us at a large fortune. You know, it's basically been man hours more than anything else. Yeah. Staff time. So we'll continue with that once greens maintenance has been completed, or greens tee surrounds maintenance has been completed, and then we'll jump back on, and then obviously there's the other ditch work around the course and the 5th bunkers to finish. But kind of got a plan for the next 6 weeks. Yeah. And we'll go all out to get all that done and see where we end up.
I think we've been quite ambitious this winter, and on the whole, the weather has allowed us, or allowed you and the team to get a lot done. I think it's fair to say there's a lot happened this winter
Yeah.
so far, with another few weeks of winter left before we get to March. But hopefully, the weather still plays ball and you can complete the jobs that you're doing, and we're in a great position.
And it makes a change to be able to, compared to last winter, get out there and get on with jobs and get it done, rather than, I know we install this road or path down from the car park into the 12th or the 18th and 12th, and just the weather played absolute havoc, and it seemed to just drag on, and as much as we tried, we was kind of fighting a losing battle at times, and days when you just had to give up and say, right, enough's enough.
We've been beaten today, let's come back tomorrow. And
so it certainly makes a change to get out there and do winter work, or what I would term proper winter work.
Get the projects done,
and it's good for the lads and the team too. For them to get involved and have their own inputs and ideas, and sort of send them on the way and let them learn a little bit on their own, and know that myself, Tom, my deputy, and the likes of yourself and Stuart, the Greens chairman, are just a phone call away if they get an issue or they want to discuss something. We're all open to conversations, and there's plenty of ways to go about different problems and projects and what have you, and I'm always open to trying new stuff.
Good stuff. Sounds like we've got plenty to do, but we've done plenty already, and 2025 looks like it could be, touch wood, a really good season playing wise for us.
Hopefully, yeah.
Which brings us on to the next podcast that we're going to do. So we just finished episode 2, and by the time we come back in March, we'll still talk about the course to start the podcast, but we're going to move on to the golf side of what we do at Hindley Hall, and we're going to bring Stuart Grant in, chairman of Greens, but also runs all our competitions here at Hindley, along with his wife Di. So we're going to talk about what we got planned through the season, competition-wise. Talk about some of the board competitions. Again, we've got some of the boards above us up here, and move on to a little bit of a different area of life at Hindley Hall. So, Andy, I think that was, again, really insightful. Snow, disease pressure, course maintenance. 40 degrees over in the Far East that you've enjoyed, while the rest of us haven't.
It's been a challenge coming back.
I'll bet it has.
It's been a challenge, but the lads have done great while I've been away. I must say, outstanding what they've managed to achieve. There's only been 2 of them at times. I don't think many people know, but I'm sure you'll not mind me saying that our youngest member of the team, Tom Elliott, or as we lovingly call him, Mr. Bean, he went and did his own little bit of travelling and has been and climbed Kilimanjaro. So he left us at Christmas and has just come back. He started back here yesterday. So, with me being away as well, there's only been 2 of them. And then John, our longest serving team member, 50 years. He only does 3 days a week now, Wednesday to Friday. So for a Monday and Tuesday, it's just been Tom, the deputy, and Chris, and they've done an outstanding job on various projects and tasks around the golf course. It's not easy when there's just 2 of you. There's a lot of to-ing and throwing, and you need more than one machine over there, and it's getting it over there, and then you need to come back and get something else or more kit, and then likewise it all has to be done in reverse at the end of the day. So there's a lot of time going into just the logistics of doing a job, more than the job sometimes, but they've got to get it done, and they've done a great job. Yeah,
I'll second that one. I'm sure we all will.
Yeah.
But for today, I think we'll wrap that up there. Call that an end to episode 2, and we'll be back at the beginning of March with episode 3. So if you haven't seen the previous episode, go back and see episode 1 on our YouTube channel. And for today, Andy, thanks very much.
No, thank you.
And we'll see everybody again for episode 3 of the Hindley Hall Herald podcast.
Thank you all.